Hi guys, it is Warfare Daily here, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be doing a tank review of the IS-7. Now the IS-7 is a tier 10 heavy in the Russian tech tree. It's one of two heavies. In fact, I'll be comparing it a lot to the other Russian heavy, the IS-4. Now, this tank is kind of a tricky one, and a lot of people think, oh yeah, it's like incredibly good, but I actually have a fair few issues with it, and I'll discuss that in a minute. I just want to quickly announce something though. I'm going to be doing some Star Wars Battlefront 2 content on my channel as well, so yeah, look out for that, guys. So yeah, just on to about this tank though. I guess, well, immediately it has the problem of all the Russian heavy tanks, and that is bad gun depression. I mean, a lot of the Russian heavies, no, pretty much all of the Russian heavies have it. In fact, it's just a Russian thing, just having all Russian tanks. You'd see there, like, that AMX-50 is trying to flank, and I basically couldn't hit him unless I wanted to go over that hill, which would be dangerous, but nonetheless I still managed to get him as he went back. And I guess with this battle, the enemy's basically rushing in, but just trying to flank us. They're completely rushing. You can see that E50 charges forth, and they get punished because of it. And you guys will see that, and you'll see this is a good game, unlike the other battles. I mean, there's another good one too. Like, you do get good battles in this tank, but I guess it's more the consistency that's the problem. And on to probably the flaws of this tank and why I don't think it's the best heavy tank to be getting. Now, I do say heavy tank. I'm not saying it's a bad tier 10 tank. I'm just saying it's a bad tier 10 heavy tank. And the reason I say that is because if you compare it to all the other tier 10 heavies, immediately its gun is just a lot worse. I mean, E100, for an example, has, I think it's maybe a slightly slower rate of fire, but it does much more damage. And even, I'm not entirely sure about like all of them, but I do know one thing: the gun on this thing isn't great, and you do have an okay amount of penetration, but for the amount of damage you do, the reload time is quite fast. I mean, slow. I mean, it's definitely not fast, believe me, it's pretty slow. And, I mean, that puts you at a big disadvantage, because this tank also has a lot less health than all the other tier 10 heavies. And just going back to the E100 again, basically, if you want to deal with an E100, if both of you are just hitting shots into each other, no bounces, the E100 is guaranteed to win, because it has more health, has more damage per minute. I guess the only way to really win would be to get bounced with this tank, and the armor on this tank is actually quite good. That's one of the only real good things about this tank. Is it does have good armor, especially if you angle it and hide the hull. You got to go turret down. That's one thing with this tank that you'll have to get used to, is hull down. If you don't do that, they will still get through you, but it does have decent armor. Now, just going back to the IS-4, now they do have similar stats, but I mean, as I said before, the IS-4 has more health. It has a different gun. Now, I'm not entirely sure about the IS-4's gun. I haven't really looked at it a whole lot, but they've both got a similar amount of maneuverability or speed. I think the IS-7 might be a bit more, but the IS-4 is also a much smaller tank, has more health. I mean, they are fairly equal, but I just think that the IS-4 would be the better tank to get out of the two. And the armor on the IS-4 is quite similar as well. It does have a slightly bigger lower glacis, but it's not too much of an issue. And actually, about the speed and maneuverability of this tank, it actually does have decent speed and maneuverability. I mean, I guess that's one good thing about it, that and the armor. The armor, well, it's not a whole lot better than the other ones, but I mean, I would just say that if you're going to be getting a tier 10 heavy, I would say that things like the E100 are much better. The the American autoloader, what's another good example? Even the British heavy, although that thing there does have issues of its own, I still believe that it's probably the better Actually, no, I'd have to say the IS-7 would be better than that one. But what I'm trying to get at, and like I said before, it's a decent tier 10 tank, but it's not a good tier 10 heavy. I know I said that before, but I mean, a lot of it does come down to the fact that it has less health and the gun. And I mean, the speed and maneuverability is not great either. It's kind of like a medium heavy tank, I guess you could say. Like, but it's just a different. It takes a lot of getting used to, and you can't expect to do great amounts of damage. You will see I do have a couple good games, as I said before. I mean, there's not a huge amount to say about this. A lot to say about this tank. I mean, it's okay, I guess, but I mean, as I said before, I really think that if you're going to go for a heavy tank, or even if it's just a Russian heavy tank, get the IS-4. Heavy tank in general, I would much prefer the E100. And just going back to another thing about this tank is your APCR seems to be fine. I mean, it's just, APCR. You can see that I'm just putting that shot. And the Alpha, I mean, you can do... I mean, actually, that's another thing. You can do fairly high amounts of damage, but it's not consistent. Often you'll get shots that are only like 350, which is pretty poor. And to be honest, as I said about the armor, well, people just seem to pen you anyway. If you don't angle, they'll pretty easily get through. Yeah, I think I've pretty much said about, I mean, all there is to this tank. There's only one more thing I'd like to mention, is that this tank is more of a thing that's meant for versing medium tanks. It's not really meant for charging the line, I guess you could say. It is much better at taking out mediums, but you can't expect to be dueling other heavies because it's not going to go too well for you if that player's experienced. And I mean, there are ways to win those duels, as I said before, with the angling armor. But yeah, I mean, I guess that I mean, you can see that I did get a pretty good bounce there, and I'm not saying I mean, you can get this tank if you want. I'm just saying I wouldn't exactly recommend it. So yeah, I think I've basically said all there is to this tank. I'll just go on to the gameplay. You can see there's a Grill 15. That was HE, so that's a very light target there, easily get through. And this game, you've seen a lot of the earlier stuff, but you can see that I'm not sure if this is just a problem with this tank's HE or what, but you can see that I put that shot there, that only did 230 damage, and it was meant to be a full penetration, so I'm not sure if that's a problem with this tank's HE or what. Maybe it's just the spot I hit it. I mean, it did hit close to track, and it happens again there as well. I think that time the track absorbed it. But yeah, and you'll see even again this next shot, once again, this one here is even worse. It only does 60. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, the battle ends. We end up getting 1,000 points. And I mean, if you're gonna play this tank in platoons, I would probably recommend you play it with a 183, maybe a Jagdpanzer E100, something with a high amount of damage, just because your gun doesn't do that great damage, or a medium tank. I'd probably rather the higher hitting tank though for a platoon, and I guess that's one thing you can do is tank platooning. That's one way to be successful, but I mean, yeah, it is kind of it's a bit different from the other heavies. I mean, I guess it's same kind of concept, but it's just the fact that you're at a higher tier. And I mean, it's not a huge improvement over the IS-8. It's just basically what got more health and a bit better armor. It's got the same gun, really. To be a tier 10 tank, I just think that it's under-equipped. I think that if you were just versing tier 9, then that's kind of different. But the problem is, there's so many of these E100s and stuff. And you'll see in this one here, I actually end up in a duel with an E100, and I think that we do both bounce off each other. There's also an E75 involved too. You can see that I just bounced off the side. He fired at the other guy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a comparison video, full detail between this and the IS-4. I mean, there's nothing terrible about this tank. It's a decent tank. I would just say that it's not quite as good as the other ones, but it's still an okay tank. It's good for versus medium tanks, and I know that I'm repeating myself, but I just can't stress that enough. If you're wanting like an big heavy, like something like a mouse, where you shouldn't really be getting this tank. It's more for people who like medium heavies, which I mean is kind of like the IS-8 as well. So yeah, I mean, I have had a lot of problems with this trouble with this tank. It's either the E-75, like when you angle, they will really struggle to get through, which is what I'm doing, and then the E-100 gets involved, and I don't know, our team's kind of falling apart, and I'm in a bit of trouble. You can see that the E-100's angling back. I believe that this shot here, yeah, he went straight through my, I think he actually went through my upper panel. Like with ABCR they can do that. I kind of just ignored him to go for the E-75. That was a good hit on his engine, set him on fire, and there's a pretty pointless ram there. You can't really do much ramming action with this tank. Someone else took him out, and I'm pretty much screwed at this point. So you can see it. I mean, it's in this tank's defense though. There was really, like, you can't blame this tank in that situation because nothing would have survived that. So yeah. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video for more World of Tanks Blitz reviews and battles. Thank you guys so much for watching.